We are a group of 4 students at the University of Malaya. We are taking instrumentation in this semester. Our lecturer, Dr. Narima, gave us 2 hours to use Neviton board and Keil to come up with a program of ours. Of course, we were allowed to use the examples provided with the evaluation board. Our team decided to use LCD, buzzer, and the keypad. We made a program to show our names and ask for a code. If the user enters 66, the buzzer goes on. This will be repeated in an infinite loop.
Should I scroll down? No. This is that. Okay, so now what happens is that then reset is. Okay, this is reset, right?
Hey, no,
This one. Okay. So when I reset it at first choice group and our name again, then it says put a number. If we put like 21, it's gonna wait there and then show again. And if we put 66, it's gonna make the sound. And zoom back here. So now again, it's gonna go to the place that it shows our name, and this is like infinite loop. Now just wait here so that it goes back. It shows it goes back. Then yeah.
Okay.
Now we can see the libraries which have been used in the code. So in here we can see the main in our code. In the first 3 lines we are initializing the processor and we are setting the clock frequency at 48 MHz. The next line we are initializing the keypad, and then we are initializing the I/O to an output so that we can turn on the buzzer. In the last 2 lines we are initializing the LCD and we are clearing the data on the LCD. So here we can see our infinite loop, and then we are declaring the variables that we need and point A as a reference point, and then we go and print on LCD in row 0 group B4. It is important to mention that the LCD rows start from 0 and it goes up to 3, so that means we have 4 lines in the LCD, and then we have certain amount of delay, and then we print 2 of the members' name and delay for certain amount of time. In order to increase the delay period, we have put the delay function in a for, and it is repeated 15 times. And then we print the other 2 members' name and the delay, and then we initialize and clear the LCD again, and then we print the text 0 string in the screen. There is a for loop here which waits for the user to key in a value. The scan key function, it will read the button pressed by the user, and if there is no button pressed, it will return 0. So whenever a value is returned from the scan key function which is not 0, and that indicates that a user pressed a button, the break will be called through the if statement, and we will proceed to the outside of the for loop. But what if the user does not enter any value? What's going to happen is that we are going to come out of the for, and the number will be equal to 0 because the key is not pressed. So now let's consider the case that the user has keyed in a value during the time that for loop was running. So we come to the if statement. In the if statement, we are having number 1 equal to number, and then we are printing the number that we already read from the user in the string, and then we print it on the LCD, and then we set it back to 0, and we wait for certain amount of time, and then we wait for the user to key in another value, and the while that you can see there, it waits till the user key in an input, and then number 2 will have the value which is keyed in by the user, and then it will be stored in the string text1 at position 9, and then it will be printed on the LCD again. Here we have an if statement which checks if the 2 numbers received and entered by the user are both 6, and in that case it will turn on the buzzer, wait for some time, and then it will turn off the buzzer. And then it will come out of the if statements and wait for certain amount of time. This is for when the user did not press anything or press 66. And then this is the end of the if statements in which we consider that the user has pressed the button. And this part is the else, which means if the user did not press anything. And then we will go back to point A, and point A is where we print the name of our group members. So we learned to use microcontrollers to design a system with inputs and outputs. In the previous examples that we did, our input was from a keypad and our output was a buzzer and an LCD.